Hello, welcome to Computer Career Day. I'm Professor Doug Brown. Myself and my co-teacher, Mr. Elwell, teach computer networking here at Harrisburg Area Community College. I'm here with you for a few minutes today to talk about careers in computer networking. Before we get into anything specific on computer networking, a thought to note: employment of network and computer system administrators is projected to grow 4% in the next 10 years. This is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. They keep an eye on occupations and careers and the outlook for them over periods of time. And network and computer system jobs and careers is expected to grow a few percent in the next 10 years. That's good news for you as a student. When you get done with your schooling, there'll be jobs out in the marketplace for you. Let's start in with what we know about computer networks and work into maybe what we don't know. What we do know is pretty much all of us have this kind of arrangement in our house. We have some sort of ISP connection, maybe Comcast, Verizon, something along that line, that comes into your house and connects into some kind of modem or box to translate from their signaling to network signaling for your house. And then you probably have some kind of Linksys, Netgear, Belkin, D-Link kind of router that you have sitting maybe in your living room near your computer desk that all the devices in your house pretty much communicate with. So you have smartphones and tablets and laptops that are wirelessly connecting to it. You have maybe a desktop that's plugged into it. You might have an Xbox or a PlayStation plugged into it. We have a Nintendo Switch that's wirelessly connected to it. So we have all these devices in our house connecting to this Linksys, Netgear, Belkin, D-Link router in our living room or family room. Well, if we were to take this box and break it open, I always warn my students, don't do this for real, but if you were to take that box and break it open, what you actually find is this is actually a network in a box. Inside of that is actually circuitry that is a router and firewall that connects you to the ISP. There is a switch in there. Those are the ports on the back that your devices plug into. And then there is a wireless access point that your laptops and smartphones and tablets are wirelessly connecting to. So this box that you have that we call a router is actually a network in a box. It was designed to be just that. I put it in my house and allows all my devices in my house to come together and communicate on a network, and most importantly, go out through this ISP connection out to the ISP, out to the internet. So this is literally building me a network so that all the devices in my house are connecting together to make a network and connecting out to the ISP. That's what that router I have in my house is actually doing. Well, networks in places like schools and businesses are not much different. They just don't use that little Linksys, Netgear, Belkin router. They typically scale up and use a dedicated router, a dedicated switch with many ports, and dedicated access points. All of these are designed to be able to handle a larger quantity of devices and a lot more volume of traffic. So each one is individual and each one needs to be handled and configured and connected in its own way. Well, computer networking is just this. Connecting these devices together, knowing how they work, knowing how to configure them and make them work, maintaining them day after day, week after week, and then also troubleshooting them as problems arise. People lose connectivity or something like that. You go in and you resolve their connection problem that they're having so they can reconnect to the network and do A, B, and C tasks in their job. That's what computer networking is all about. So, in computer networking, what kind of things do I do each day? A number of the things I just mentioned for you. Install these devices, these hardware and software devices, upgrade them as new things come along, whether it be new software or new hardware. Maintain the network and security. Usually you're working with devices in there on security. Optimize our network, making sure that the users are getting the connection they need. Things are not delayed or laggy. Adding users to our network, updating permissions, removing users from the network, training users on what needs to be done, interpreting problems and solving problems. This is probably one of the big ones. Interpreting problems and solving problems. That's all in the kind of the job description for somebody that's a network admin or working on the network admin crew, if you will. Where would I work? Well, what places have computer networks? Or as I like to ask it, what places do not have computer networks? Most places have some type of computer network, from your house to, your local church or local school, up to businesses and hospitals and those sorts of things. They all have a network to some degree. So you might work at a school or a hospital where you're part of the IT team, and that's where you work every day, day in and out, all year round. Or you might work for a company that does IT support for a dozen smaller companies, smaller businesses. The local copy shop, the local mom and pop hardware store, those sorts of things. You might do network support for them at their businesses. So I might work at different locations, but I'm supporting networks pretty much anywhere at this point in time. So what will my working hours be? Well, if I work in an IT team at a school district, maybe where you're going, your work hours would be mostly school hours. You are going to work some hours before or after school doing updates, repairs, maintenance, that sort of thing. You might be doing some work on the weekends. Not a whole lot, but sometimes work on the weekends. And a lot of your holidays, maybe not so much, but you would be working over the summer, fixing the network and upgrading and getting ready for the new school year. Meanwhile, if I go to a place like a hospital, well, there's patients in a hospital 24/7, 365. So you might work a day shift, or you might work a night shift. You might work a Saturday, you might work a Sunday, you might work holidays. You might even work on a major holiday, holiday eve or holiday day, depending on when things break and when they need repaired and updated. So it does depend on where you work, what your hours might be. Well, I've known of some people that actually like the, night hour shift or whatever. They like that. That fits what they like to do. Some people like to stick with the day hours. Some people are like, no, I like to work on the weekends and I have a bunch of my week free. So there is different hours depending on where you work. What are some positive aspects of a job in IT or networking? Salary and job outlook. We mentioned earlier, job outlook is, there is a increase over the next handful of years, next 10 years. So that's a good thing. There will be jobs there. Salary, well, the median salary, that's middle, is around $80,000. It doesn't mean you're going to start making $80,000. It means you would work your way up to that. But there's a good salary to be had in networking and network support. What kind of technical, I should say, it is technical work. Some people like doing something that's very technical, figuring out all the nuances and the details and how it's connected and how it works. In the work environment, you're usually working indoors. You're usually working in a climate-controlled environment. And for some people, that's a real plus. That's a real positive for them. What are some negative aspects of working in network support or IT admin, if you will? Hours. You might be working night shift. You might be working weekends. You might be working holidays, supporting networks or network problems. It is technical work. For some people, it can be frustrating trying to figure out all these problems that come along that there might not be a solution to yet. This might be brand new. This might be the first time you see it. That can be frustrating to some people. And some of these jobs can actually be very sedentary, meaning you're sitting for large portions of your day. That could be a negative for some people. So is this field right for you? Well, are you the person that likes to know how things work? Are you the person that maybe have built your own PC or repaired your PC? Are you kind of a curious person, want to take it apart and figure out how it's working? Are you the kind of person, hey, I like to figure this out and try to get it working again? These are all traits that might, kind of indicate that this might be a career path for you. Are you somebody interested in job security down the road, climate-controlled environment? You might actually have flexible hours depending on the work environment. If everything's functioning correctly, you might leave a little bit early because you're coming in Saturday to put hours in to upgrade a new system. So there could be some flexibility depending on where you work too. These can all be, indicators of would this be a career for you? What education might you need to work in this field? Well, you can actually get careers with a associate's degree, a 2-year college degree. Many places are going to require you to have some kind of certifications, which we'll touch on in just a minute. Certifications like CompTIA Network Plus, CompTIA A Plus, or Cisco entry-level certification. Some jobs are actually going to require you to have a 4-year degree or a bachelor's degree. All of them are going to require continual training or additional certifications. That is very normal. So what does HACC have to offer? Well, HACC has a 2-year career program, getting you an associate's degree, training you to leave and actually become like a junior network admin. You're not going to be the network admin for the entire network day one, but you'll be in training and work your way up to, potentially. Our goal is to make you competent and employable in the field, where, again, you might start entry level and work your way up. You might work in support and work your way up, but you'll have a working knowledge of networks and everything that's going on. We do a lot of hands-on labs in our program to get you skills to be employable. As I like to say it, if we talk about it one class, we're usually hooking it up and making it work the next class. That's fairly normal. So what kind of classes would you take in our program? Well, the first 2 classes you take, the first 2 semesters, are introduction networking classes. We do a little bit of everything. Pretty much all aspects of networking. We go, about knee deep or waist deep, if you will, giving you a hands-on working knowledge of almost all aspects of networking. These 2 introduction level classes cover all the content for the CompTIA Network Plus certification. So leaving those classes, you can go out and take the test and potentially pass the CompTIA Network Plus certification and add that to your resume. You also take in this second semester a cabling class. This is all about the copper and fiber optic links that are supporting all of our networks. What are they? How do we hook them up? How do we terminate them? How do we test them? How do we troubleshoot them? All about that physical aspect, that physical link of our network. Third semester, or beginning of your second year, you take CNT 220. This is your TCP/IP protocol stack, all the protocols going on in networking, as well as routing and switching. A lot of routing and switching with these protocols to build our networks out. So we do the basics in the intro class. Here we're filling in with all the protocols and making our networks very functional, almost like a business grade network as you're ending the semester. You're going to take some technical classes as you go along as well. There are 2 server classes you take, a Windows server class and a Linux server class. You also take a technical support class, learning to support the user as they're calling in with problems and diagnosing their problems for them. There's a intro-level security fundamentals class, getting you a lot of the the background knowledge of security and security policies. There's 2 classes you're going to take in electronics. These are all about PC technology and troubleshooting and repairing PC technology. These 2 classes get you ready for the CompTIA A Plus certification. There is electives you can take as you go. You will need to take 3 eventually. Here's the list of a bunch of the common ones. There's a 240 Cisco routing and switching class. This gets you ready for the Cisco entry-level certification, the routing and switching certification. There is a virtualization and cloud computing class. There is a wireless network admin class. There is a co-op experience where you can actually do some on-the-job work and get college credit for it. And then there's also a second-level security class. This is ethical hacking and incident response class. That can be taken as elective as well. So those are all elective choices you can take as you're working on completing your degree. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Professor Brown, or my co-teacher, Mr. Elwell, and we will happily answer your questions about anything related to computer networking.